After 7 months of collecting Pokemon cards, I feel like I finally figured out how to consistently find cards at MSRP and without overpaying. So in this video, I'm going to share my exact strategies for hunting down the cards that you want, avoiding overpriced products, avoiding resellers, and getting the most value for your money. Whether you're just starting again or looking to grow your collection smarter, I hope these tips will help you save both time and money. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, before you jump into any conclusions thinking that I'm some unemployed card hunter checking stores every day at 3 a.m., but props to those dedicated souls, by the way. We've all waited in line for something before, right? Let me set the record straight. I don't do any of that extreme stuff. I don't wait in line at 5 a.m., I don't wait in line the midnight before. What I do is I feel like I have a strategic approach that's helped me build a pretty impressive collection that I'm proud of without breaking the bank or losing my sleep. The digital gold rush, mastering online Pokemon drops. Let's start with the holy grail of convenience, and for me, that's online drops. After months of trial and error and a few missed opportunities that still kind of bother me, I've learned that different online stores have their own unique personalities when it comes to releasing product online. Now think of it as like dating, but instead of mixed signals, you're dealing with queue systems and purchase limits. Pokemon Center, the reliable morning person. The Pokemon Center website has become my most dependable source for sealed products. It's like that friend who's always punctual. You know exactly what to expect. Now, every time they release product, I get a notification from PokeNotify, more on that lifesaver later, head over to their website, and then wait in their surprisingly civilized queue, and then I place my order. And here's what I've learned about Pokemon Center's habits. They're pretty much morning people, and from my experience, they typically release products between 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on weekdays. And I have yet to see them drop anything on the weekends or past noon. Apparently, even Pokemon need their work-life balance. Now, they usually limit products to 2 per person, but if you're after sleeve boosters, you can grab about 6 items per order. Now, the beauty of the Pokemon Center is that it's predictable, and while other retailers keep you guessing like a game of Pokemon Go, Pokemon Center sticks to their schedule like a well-trained Alakazam. But if you prefer a little more chaos in your card hunting, our next stop will definitely deliver on that front. Target, the Midnight Maverick. Target is the wild card of online Pokemon drops, and they'll release products at literally any time of day, any day of the week. Just 3 days ago, they dropped Mega Brave and Mega Symphonia products at midnight on a Saturday. And wouldn't you know, I decided to go sleep at 11:30 p.m. that night. And so let's just say that the Pokemon gods have a twisted sense of humor because I missed that drop by like 30 minutes. And here's where PokeNotify becomes absolutely crucial, right? So they have a special monitor that tracks when Target stocks more than 10 units of an item. And when I get that notification, I know I actually have a fighting chance instead of competing for bots for that single lonely ETB. So Target usually limits orders to 2 items per person, which is reasonable enough to keep the scalpers from completely clearing the shelves. But pro tip though is that other Discord servers have Target stock notification channels. But if there's only 1 item in stock, the bots usually snatch it faster than you can say Pikachu. But when there are 10 plus items, that's when us, you and I, have a better shot at getting the item from Target. Now, speaking of predictable timing, let me introduce to you a phenomenon that's become legendary in the Pokemon community. Walmart Wednesdays, the weekly ritual. Walmart Wednesdays isn't just a catchy phrase, it's become a sacred tradition in the Pokemon collecting world. Now, Walmart has earned this nickname because they consistently drop Pokemon products on Wednesdays, usually between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And it's like they've designated Hump Day as Pokemon Day, and honestly, I'm all for it. But what I love about Walmart drops is that they're generous with their limits, usually 12 items per product type. So if they release ETBs and premium collection boxes simultaneously, you can order 12 of each. It's like Christmas morning, except Santa worked at a wholesale distributor. Now, the catch: sometimes you'll need a Walmart Plus membership to access the drops, or basically certain items will be exclusive to Walmart Plus members. But here's the silver lining though. Walmart has dramatically improved their queuing system to fight off bots, and it's like they finally hired a decent bouncer for their digital store. Now, if you thought the Walmart systems was interesting, wait until you hear about the complete lottery system that some retailers have implemented. Costco and Sam's Club, the great randomizer. Now, online Costco and Sam's Club drops are what I like to call wild cards with a twist of chaos. And so what they'll do is that they'll announce the exact date in which products are going to be released online, which sounds organized, right? But no. Even if you're the first person to click on the link, they'll randomize your place in queue like some sort of digital slot machine. So, for example, I'm sitting at my computer, fingers poised over my keyboard, ready to pounce once the link goes live. I click it immediately and boom, I'm 100th in queue, which technically is good. But meanwhile, someone, let's say you for example, if you click on the link 5 minutes later, you might get placed in 20th in queue. Now, it's like the universe is playing a practical joke, but hey, at least everyone has an equal shot at disappointment. But despite the randomness, these drops are still worth attempting. And after all, when you're hunting for MSRP prices, you take every opportunity that you can get, right? Even if it feels like you're playing Pokemon themed roulette. But if you want to experience true emotional whiplash, let me tell you about our next contender, Macy's, the master of false hope. So Macy's has perfected what I call the false hope premise. And so what they'll do is that they'll drop products at the most random times, let you successfully place an order, and then you get to play everyone's favorite game, will they actually ship it? I can't tell you how many times I've successfully ordered from Macy's only to receive an email or basically a cancellation email 2 days later. Out of 8 supposedly successful orders that I've ever placed within the past 7 months, 6 of them have been canceled, and it's like running a Pokemon card lottery where the house always wins. But those 2 times when out of the 8 my orders actually shipped, it's like pure magic, and despite the emotional roller coaster, Macy's is still worth trying. So think of it as buying a lottery ticket. The odds aren't great, but when you win, it feels amazing. And so now let's talk about a retailer that somehow managed to make online drops even more frustrating. Best Buy, the bot buffet. Online Best Buy drops are, to put it diplomatically, I think they're horrendous. Okay, so I'm convinced that their website is just feeding ground for bots. And in all my months of trying, I've only managed to snag like one Blooming Waters, which maybe you'll see behind me, which was actually randomly during a Saturday that caught everyone off guard. And so the silver lining with Best Buy, when Best Buy does surprise everyone with a random drop, you might actually have a chance since even the bot operators are probably taking the weekend off or something. But still, it's worth monitoring, but don't get your hopes up too high. When online drops offer convenience, sometimes the best treasures are found through good old-fashioned human connections. The power community, your secret weapon. Before we dive into in-person hunting strategies, let me share the most underrated tip in this entire guide. Join local Pokemon collecting Discord servers and Facebook groups. Now, these communities are absolute goldmines for networking with other collectors. And why is this important? Because I regularly see people posting about card availability at specific stores in my area. For example, just this morning, I saw a Facebook post in my local Pokemon trading group about Destined Rivals bundles being at a nearby Best Buy. Since I was already headed that direction, I was able to snag one without making any special trip. Now, these communities also help you build relationships with trading partners who will text you when the nearest targets get stocked. It's like having a network of Pokemon card spies working for you, except they're doing it out of the goodness of their hearts and shared obsession. Now, the key is staying active in these groups. Lurking won't get you those hot tips. You need to participate, share your own finds, and build genuine relationships with those select few collectors. Now that you've got your intelligence network set up, let's talk about where to actually find these cards in the wild. Target, the grocery store goldmine. Target has become my most successful in-person hunting grounds. So much so that I actually shifted my grocery shopping there just to check for Pokemon cards during the same trip. Now, it's only 8 minutes away from my house, so it's become part of my regular routine, rather than a special expedition. But here's the crucial intel. Always check behind the customer service/returns counter. Pokemon cards are so popular nowadays that many stores keep them locked up to regulate sales, and I can't tell you how many times I've walked past empty card aisles only to discover Pokemon cards behind the counter. Now, Target usually limits purchases to 2 items per person, which is reasonable, and it helps ensure more people get a chance at the products. The key is timing though. I've had the most checking during weekday mornings when the overnight restocking crew has done their work, but before the after school and after work crowds arrive. But here's an important lesson I learned the hard way, and it applies to every store you'll visit. The employee knowledge gap, trust but verify. Here's something crucial to remember, okay? So employees may not always know what they're talking about, but it's not their fault. They're not Pokemon card experts, and they're not only keeping track of Pokemon shipments. They're just trying to do their job. So a perfect example was a couple days ago, I asked a Sam's Club employee at customer service if they were getting Pokemon product the following day. It was their scheduled prismatic drop day. She checked her computer, looked confused, and told me that there were no Pokemon cards planned for the following day. And guess what? Sam's Club ended up doing Pokemon cards. Now, I'm not saying you can't trust store employees. They're doing their best with the information that they have, but always do your own research and don't rely solely on what one employee tells you. Sometimes the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, especially in large retail chains. Now, this brings us to the most notorious of all in-person drops, GameStop, the Gladiator Arena. GameStop drops have achieved legendary status in the Pokemon community, and for a good reason, I think. I've only lined up twice, both times for Pokemon 151 products, and the experience is unique. The good news is that in my city, I can show up like 45 minutes before opening, and that'd usually be enough time to secure product. The bad news? GameStop has started marking up their prices above MSRP, which defeats the whole purpose of this guide. It's like they looked at scalper prices and thought, hey, we want in on that action too. But here's what makes GameStop particularly challenging. While Costco or Sam's might receive pallets of products, enough for like the first 100 people online, GameStop typically gets 10 to 30 units of each item. And if you're not that first group, you're out of luck. And here's where it gets really interesting. It's usually per membership. So if someone has multiple memberships, they can bring family members to order additional products. I've seen people bring their grandmas to wait in line with them, which honestly makes me feel bad for the poor soul who just wants the rest at home. But hey, people gotta do what they gotta do to get sealed product at reasonable prices, right? Whatever it takes, right? Now, GameStop usually posts their drop schedule on their door, or you can ask about upcoming releases. Just be prepared for the markup and the competition. Now, let me tell you something about a more civilized approach to in-person drops. Best Buy, the ticket system champions. Best Buy has figured out how to make in-person drops actually bearable. At my local Best Buy, they actually give out tickets if you show up early enough. Then you can just wait in your car and return when the store actually does open to claim your product. It's like they actually considered customer comfort. Revolutionary concept, right? But don't sleep on random Best Buy visits throughout the week. I'll randomly stop by Best Buy and ask the checkout counter if they have any cards stored in the back. And once in a while, they'll bring out product that hasn't been put on the shelves, and it's like finding a hidden treasure chest. And the chest is a storage room. Now, speaking of treasure chests, let me tell you about the wholesale wonderlands. Costco and Sam's Club, the wholesale wonderlands. These warehouse clubs are where the magic really happens. And what I love about Costco and Sam's Club drops is scale. They typically receive pallets of Pokemon products, meaning that the first 100 plus people online actually have a real shot at getting something. But here's the catch though, you'll likely need their premium membership. Costco's executive membership gets you, I think, 2 hours early into the store, while Sam's Club Plus gets you 1 hour early access. That early entry is crucial because regular members probably won't find anything by the time general admission starts. So the prices at these warehouse clubs are fantastic. You're getting the wholesale pricing. The limit is usually 2 items per membership. So if you're under multiple memberships, right, family plan and maybe your spouse, you could potentially order 4 total items. But here's where human nature gets interesting. People are notorious for looping around. And so what they'll do is that they'll buy their initial 2 items, go to their car, change outfits, and then get back in line. It's like Pokemon card cosplay, except the costume change is just swapping hoodies. So even with pallets of product, inventory can still sell out fast. Now let me show you some hidden gems that most collectors overlook now. The underrated heroes, Walgreens and Dollar Tree. Walgreens and Dollar Tree are the unsung heroes of Pokemon card hunting, and these stores often fly under the radar, which means less competition and better chances at finding products. Walgreens tends to keep their cards locked in clear glass cases or behind the counter. So always ask, but don't just assume that they have cards because you don't see them on display. I found some great products at Walgreens, including older sets like Sword and Shield packs that other stores had long since sold out of. Dollar Tree is particularly interesting because they sometimes have products sitting on shelves with no purchase limits. So if you get lucky enough to find a booster box of Destined Rivals, you can buy the entire case if you wanted. It's like finding an unguarded treasure vault. Rare, but incredibly rewarding when it happens. Both places are definitely worth checking out, with a slight preference for Walgreens due to their tendency to carry older products that have become harder to find elsewhere. So after 7 months of trial and error and collecting, here's what I've learned. Finding Pokemon cards at MSRP isn't about camping outside stores or checking every retailer daily. It's about being strategic, building connections, and knowing where to look at the right times. Start with online drops, set up PokeNotify alerts, and join those Discord servers. I'll leave links to these down below in the description. Also, build your local community connections through Facebook groups. Make Target part of your regular routine, and don't be afraid to ask employees about backstock inventory. For the bigger drops at GameStop, Costco, and Sam's Club, Best Buy, plan ahead and be prepared for some competition. But remember, even with all these strategies, you're not going to catch every single drop. And that's okay. The goal isn't to get everything. It's to get enough at fair prices to build a collection that you want. Now, with all these ways to find sealed product, hopefully this helps you find sealed product too. And if you want to follow along with me into growing a Pokemon card collection worth $100,000, make sure to watch this video next.